On the back of that, for the latest, is our correspondent Ajeck Mangut in Abuja, Nigeria. Ajeck, good afternoon. Perhaps you can just give us the latest. What is the situation on the ground on the back of ECOWAS having suspended Niger, and whether there's any negotiations at this point between junta and ECOWAS?
Yes, indeed. ECOWAS leaders met yesterday in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, to try and find a solution to the crisis in Niger. And after that meeting, they actually issued a one-week ultimatum to the leaders of the coup in Niger, asking them to reinstate President Bazoum or face sanctions, which would include military force. And then after that meeting, the president of Chad headed to Niger to meet with the military coup leaders to deliver the message of ECOWAS and try and find a peaceful resolution to the situation in Niger. But we've seen the military coup leaders coming out to warn against any use of military force. They've said that they would protect Niger against any form of aggression, either from the West or from the regional bloc, ECOWAS or the African Union. The African Union has also given Niger leaders 15 days actually to reinstate President Bazoum. We've seen also the leaders accusing France of trying to plan a military intervention to try and extract the detained leader, President Bazoum, who has been, detained since the coup last week. We've seen Germany become one of the latest countries to withdraw bilateral cooperation with the country, joining former colonial power France and the EU to withdraw millions of financial aid to the country. And the US has also expressed its support for Bazoum and has said that it will support the sanctions imposed on ECOWAS. But some of the officials of former president or President Bazoum's government have said that the sanctions are being imposed on Niger would have impact more on the civilians than on the military coup leaders.
Well, I mean, following the immediate actions in terms of the borders being closed with Niger, commercial flights being banned, financial transactions halted, I wonder if you're getting a sense of what the sentiments are from the citizens within the country at this point, given the crisis talks that obviously also emerged over the weekend, and really how it's impacting their livelihoods as we speak.
Yes, indeed. So the people in Niger are actually divided. There are some who are supporting President Bazoum, and they came out in the wake of this coup to protest and to ask for him to be reinstated. But there are others who are actually supporting the coup plotters. They've come out to attack the French embassy, burning flags, and saying that the President Bazoum did not do much to address insecurity in the country, because the country is facing insecurity and insurgency, linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS and even Boko Haram from Nigeria. So there are some who are supporting the coup leaders, and they're saying they're asking France, to leave the country. France is a former colonial power in the country. And of course, the people in the administration of President Bazoum have said that this is impacting people. The country has nearly 4 million people who are facing hunger and malnutrition. And so any sort of sanctions when it comes to trade and blocking of aid getting into the country, you can imagine the impact that it's going to have on millions who depend on this aid coming in to feed and to be able to, have access to basic needs.
Ajeck, then just very quickly, seeing the coups in Mali as well as Burkina Faso and now Niger, how is what is transpiring in these countries being affected, or how does it fit into the geopolitical landscape that's also shifting the world over? Help us understand that as we put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yes, indeed. So these countries you've mentioned have all had their governments overthrown. And the military in those countries have always cited insecurity, which, is affecting many of the countries in the Sahel region, Nigeria included. And this security or insurgents have links to ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and security experts are saying that the sanctions that are being imposed on Niger could affect, the fight against insurgency within the region, because Niger was seen as a key ally of the West, the US and France, in fighting insurgency in the region, because since the governments of Burkina Faso and Mali were overthrown, we've seen the military leaders, aligning with Russia as a strategic ally. So there are fears that, if the government or the military government in Niger is being pushed with too many sanctions, they could follow suit. In Mali, for example, they've asked the military, the French troops, to leave the country. They've also asked UN peacekeepers to leave. And so there are fears that, the same could happen, and the fight against insurgency that has displaced millions of people could be jeopardized.
Ajeck, thank you for that update. Ajeck Mangut in Abuja, Nigeria, bring us the latest in relation to the developments unfolding in Niger. It follows crisis talks by members of ECOWAS, perhaps to really look at how they're going to deal with the situation from here and to. Again, thank you to Ajeck for that update.